I think the American politicians are supporting this idea and let Turkey away from NATO. But especially Erdogan seems that these ideas and some parts of the United States Congress are under effect of Israel policies. But Turkey especially there are some points disagree with Russia also, like the Black Sea issue and the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine issues. But we can say that Turkey has been working with Russia, but doesn't mean that Turkey is undermining the alliance. We agree with Russia on several points, especially on Syria and the arms deals, but there is no shift in Turkish foreign policy. The Erdogan is showing to US that he has local collaborations in the region, especially named this a strategical partnership. Turkey, as a NATO member, has a strategic allies with United States, but United States is facing with a brand new problem that a NATO member, Turkey, is getting Russian arms, and they have saying that threatened to NATO and US arms if Turkey get these missiles from Russia. So the conflict is on the not Russian and Turkish side. I think American politicians should understand that this is the 21st century and a NATO member can deal or agree with a non-NATO member like Russia or China or Iran.
Despite the independence of the Turkish foreign policy, what about your attitudes towards the Kurds in the Middle East, particularly those who have been left stranded in Syria? Now, what would be the end game of the military drawdown by the Pentagon? Will President Erdogan be allowed by Moscow to attack Kurds whose ambition for establishing its own country, despite the autonomy of those Kurds in northern Iraq? What would be the picture like?
This is the so sensitive issue on the table with Putin and Erdogan's agenda. United States they are planning to establish a terrorist region in the borders of Turkey from Syria, from Iran and from Iraq. So till to the Mediterranean Sea. And Turkey and Russia and also the regional countries, Iran and Syria, don't let this. So Turkish army is ready to attack the terrorist components in Syria. So Turkey announced this before, and the American politicians like Pence, they are rejecting these attacks to Syria, but Turkey urged that this is a critical and for Turkish next years it's an important surviving point. And let me say another important point. Turkey is doing operations with Russia in the Idlib area, and also going to do operations with the east part of Syria with the US Army. So it's an interesting point that Turkey, if decided to make an operation, will not ask to United States about this, but will coordinate with Russia, Iran, and the other regional countries. So this is an important agenda for Turkey to not to wait US policies to establish in the region. Turkey will establish its own policies with the border countries and Russia.
Now, Tel Aviv, or the Israeli state, is known for being the strongest ally of the U.S. government in the Middle East as a democracy. Now, given the fact that the 2019 is a year of election for both President Erdogan and Prime Minister Netanyahu, given the pressure of setbacks in the local elections in Turkey. What do you think of the presence of the Israeli military, the national defense, which vows to fight ISIL in Syria, and that has caused some troubles? Will the Israeli strikes be a major issue for not just the Russians, but for Turks as well?
The policies of Israel Prime Minister is rejected from Turkish side, especially on Al-Quds and other components. And Turkey says irresponsible Netanyahu can't change the West Bank status. This is all about elections. But in these years, the Erdogan has thinking that the Israel policies are shaping Trump's policies in the region. So don't reject these cooperations at the northern Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Turkey has relations with Iran that is banned from Syria and even United States. And Turkey has some conflicts still with Israel, and Israel is supported by the United States. So this is an ongoing problem with United States and NATO dealing with Turkey. Even United States is given the F-35 airstrike fighters to Israel, but rejecting to give to our paid F-35
that's indeed a big pity for Ankara not to have a F-35 at this moment because of your decision to have a S-400 air defense system from Russia. I'd like to go back to Pavel. Pavel, we've been discussing, the issue of the Kurds and President Erdogan's political agenda at home, and part of that is, of course, to present a tough face to Kurds in Syria, where Kurds wants to have their own homeland. So what do you think of attitudes of President Putin? Will he give a green light to President Erdogan's military maneuvers in Syria?
I would believe that in the end Russia could even sacrifice its connections with the Kurds if it got Turkey in exchange. Turkey is much more important. But this is going to be a very delicate bargaining thing.